Hello and welcome to Manifesting Marvel, a podcast dedicated to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm your co-host Jacob,
I'm your co-host Raga.
and today we are discussing Hawkeye, Episode 4, Partners. Am I right? So, what do you think about this episode, dude? I thought it was awesome, like usual.
Oh yes, it is really up there. Like I think they kind of pumping up the pace for it. Even though I felt like a bit slow start to the episode, I think it has so much details and so much information into it. It's really good. I thoroughly enjoy that episode. And then obviously the surprise at the end as well. We didn't expect that to happen this early
Yeah.
in the season. We thought will be at the very end, like end credit scene kind of thing, where she coming on board. But I like to see that she's involved already now. So I like to see. I mean, he's got really good people on his side at the moment. I don't think Yelena actually got against him fully. So for me, yeah, it's really good. But from the episode it started, it's left with a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of information in there. So it's quite nice. And I think we'll start going through that one by one.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the first one that we saw in the episode when Eleanor like walks a Clint to the door, we start seeing more swords on the side, which is quite cool as well. At the same time, I think these were placed in the right place, I would say. Like in case someone come to the door, you have swords right next to you, just pull them out.
Well,
You start defending.
it's playing on this idea, isn't it, that he's this
Yeah,
character that's called Swordsman in the comic
yeah,
books? But from what I understand, right,
yeah,
Jack in the comic books is like someone that gives Hawkeye a sword. I've got to apologize, by the way, everyone. I've got
yeah.
hiccups. Been trying to get rid of them for ages, and they're just not going.
We tried. We
So
drank all the water.
that's where we're at. But yeah,
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, I think in the comics this Jack character actually gives Hawkeye the sword, and that's kind of where it goes from. So it's interesting that they're taking this kind of
yeah,
route. But yeah, no, it is interesting because obviously last episode ended with Hawkeye having his own like Ronin blade put against his neck from Jack.
yeah,
And this, I wanted them to explain that because I
yeah,
was nervous from watching like the little clip and stuff online that they were
yeah.
kind of going to miss and cut that like confrontation out and it just be them sitting at the table. And I really wanted to see how they got around that. And it was cool how he realized it was Hawkeye after Kate came running in.
Yeah, I think everybody in the world had the kind of respect for him. I don't think they have anything against Hawkeye, in the sense of like Jack actually doesn't have anything against Hawkeye, but in a sense, like he's the one giving Hawkeye a sword. Like he's kind of did by bringing the Ronin sword to him, and then Hawkeye taking it at the when he's leave the apartment or the penthouse. So it's kind of did like Hawkeye took it from him. So it's kind of giving him
Yeah.
this a sword, but it's quite cool that that sword is still like he managed to retrieve that. Not sure
Yeah.
what's going to happen with that, but
Yeah, no, I was going to say it was really cool when he noticed it. And
yeah,
then he just had it by the time he got to the elevator because I was like, how's
yeah,
he going to go back and get that sword? But it was like, oh,
yeah,
no, it's just Hawkeye. He's already figured that one out.
yeah. He's already got it, and we didn't know it. But it was quite cool. And also, like one thing I noticed, as soon as he got the sword, he messaged his wife saying he's got it, and also his wife is more acting like a caseworker for Hawkeye now. Like it's more of a, like he's the one that what what he would discuss it with Nick Fury.
I'm telling you something
Yeah,
right now, okay? New theory for all of the listeners. Right, geez, these hiccups need to go away. A new theory for all the listeners, right?
yeah,
I think that she is going to be revealed to be someone. I think Laura
yeah,
is going to have a history because she was talking Russian.
yep,
She kept mentioning this watch, and Hawkeye kept saying throughout the episode that this watch would reveal the identity and it would be everything would be over if that was the case. So
yeah,
I reckon she's like Hawkeye. I reckon she used to do something in the field because if you remember too,
yeah,
throughout all of this like thing, even in Age of
yeah,
Ultron when they were staying at Clint Barton's farm,
yeah,
like she was friends with Nick Fury then too.
yeah. That's the thing. Like I was thinking as well. Like she's friends with him, and kind of brought Tony Stark into the garage, and Tony started jokingly say, "Why she start working? He's one of your age," and kind of thing. But then going to show that she's more involved in Hawkeye business than anybody else ever since that. I think Black Widow is gone, and now Nick Fury's up in space somewhere having his pina colada with
Yeah.
scrolls. So it's like to not like to see that he's got someone that he could talk to, and also so she's kind of looking after the kids as well, and then obviously hiding that information from them. So it's quite surprised when I heard her speaking Russian. I was like, okay, there's something up with her, and I like to see what she's going to be
Yeah.
as a character.
No, I'd agree with you. I think maybe I think she's definitely got a history with Nick Fury.
Yep.
It'd be nuts, mate, if this series finished with Hawkeye being a Skrull or like his wife being a Skrull.
I know.
That's probably not going to happen. That's probably too out there, but just saying that would be quite nuts. But yeah, I thought that this bit was really interesting because she treated the conversation like she was a spy with how she was tipping Hawkeye with what they were and who they were. And then she just started speaking Russian and she just like understood that he was on a mission kind of thing. And like, that's just kind of what it was. So I respect that.
And also like she was helping find the location of the Watcher as well. And she said where it is and passing on the information to him. So, and he asks for information and she gets him.
Yeah.
So it's it will be interesting to see next 2 episodes, like what she's going to be. And maybe there's a more story will follow up on the maybe Hawkeye 2. I think all these series they're releasing now at least has a part 2.
Yeah, but maybe I don't know if it involves Hawkeye though.
Yeah, but that's your theory of him dying.
No, I don't even if he doesn't die, right? Like we said last week, that maybe he like fakes his death or he just disappears or he rides off into the sunset. I feel like Hawkeye season 2 will be Kate taking up the mantle because even in this episode when she goes to meet the LARPers, I know we're jumping ahead a little bit for a second, but even when she goes to meet the LARPers, if that's what they're called, LARPing, when she goes to meet them. And she says, doesn't she, like, who are you? And she goes, Hawkeye. And then she waits a second and she goes, sent me.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you're ready for it. That's what she wants.
Yeah, it could be. Like, I like to see, like, that's the thing, like, these two episodes, even though there's only 2, I think they're going to have to pack a lot of information in there. I think there will be anyway. I think each scene will be some sort of, like, information keep coming through. I like to see how that leads to, or they're going to leave it out till the next one or somewhere else they're going to have that, different storyline coming through. But I like to see that.
Yeah.
And also it's just, they keep going back into like Kate's character, like see how vulnerable she is. Like she need that mentor, and then Hawkeye is like being and teaching her all the tricks and stuff like that. And she kind of sees it, how much she's like realizes, like again, that saving the Christmas movement when she's in the apartment with Eleanor, she just wanted to go back to Clint and then trying to spend the time with him watching the movie.
And I appreciate that moment as well because like throughout this series, you really do get a feeling for like how much Hawkeye has been through because it's like a lot. Like I really do feel for the dude. And it's not even like real. And I sit there and I like fully sympathize for him. And for me, it was really nice for her to like remember that. And then when she showed up with all the Christmas like decorations, like the tree and all of the films for movie night, and she's got the dog and pizza and everything, I was like, yes, because like Hawkeye was strapping all these daiquiris and like ice slushy cocktails to him. And then she kind of just shows up and they start having a party. And you can see that he appreciates it. And what I liked about this scene was like, it kind of shows what she has to like the clumsiness of her character and then what Hawkeye has to bring to the table with like how serious he is. Like it did make me laugh when she's using those permanent markers on like the art because she's like doing like a mood board and then he's like has that marked it and she like realizes it has and then she's like, oh god damn it, because she's made it worse because now she's written all these things on the wall of her apartment. And I thought that was really funny. But how cool was it when he was teaching her how to throw that little disc thing.
Yeah, the coin with the quarter.
Because that's what
Just
I love about Hawkeye. I think that's why I
yeah,
liked was episode 3 so much when
yeah,
he was doing like his look away fire shots and stuff
yeah.
like that. Because that's just Hawkeye.
Yeah, I think he kind of built that kind of character on himself, and he's just more. He's very aware of it. I think he knows his feet, the next step already, and he kind of when it gets to it, he's already focusing on
Mm,
the upcoming next step. So he just carries on with it. But see, that's why he just like I want to shoot him there, but he's coming that way, so I want to point it that way, but I want to look this way to figure out the next move,
mm.
which is quite cool. And then that coin toss as well, which is quite cool. I thought they almost start doing the Wanted movie where they curve the bullet
Yeah, yeah.
kind of scene that was. I thought like they're gonna do that whole coin just gonna fly through around the wall and hitting it, and they kind of almost show that, and I was like,
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
That's what I want. I want more arrow scenes. I like following the arrows through the air in
Yeah,
slow motion. That's what makes it fun. And obviously, whilst they were doing this, Clint was drinking out of a mug that said Thanos was right, which is kind of like a callback to episode 1.
yeah,
So,
and it
it's clearly a
is
popular post blip phrase.
yeah, Thanos was right. I don't know when it started or how it started, but I think we'll start seeing more of that. Maybe in Spider-Man we might see some of that as well,
Yeah.
because he plays a huge part in it. So I'd like to see that. And like about the boomerang arrow as well. Kate mentioned the Clint Barton, like that is trick arrow,
Yeah.
and like Kate's not seemed to get the hang of like, oh, if it's boomerang, it's gonna come back around, and she was like, oh, you could dodge it,
Yeah.
oh, you could
Well,
catch it,
she used them, didn't she, in
yeah,
the comics, but she didn't find them very practical. So it's interesting in this that she's suggesting it.
yeah. I think they kind of swapped that kind of character around. I think in this one, I think she cannot be like more serious because she's kind of learning and she need a mentor. So Hawkeye kind of take that stand. So maybe he's the one. I think it kind of gives it the little character hints, isn't it? Like Hawkeye's being serious, trying to get through this and trying to make sure she's safe.
Yeah.
And it's kind of plays it later in the part as well when they're having that little argument over the rooftop. But it's kind of plays a part of he's very serious about what's going on, and she's thinking, "Oh, I got a cool partner, partner with Hawkeye. I'm working with an Avenger. This is my dream,
Yeah.
and I'm just enjoying it. She's got the skills. She knows what she's got, but she's just enjoying or trying to show off
Yeah.
to Hawkeye, and then we'll see that as we go through that episode as well.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you. Another little Easter egg that I thought was really cool was the fact that Kate's was wearing one of those shirts that she had in the comic, which was like the space dog shirt.
Space.
So that's super cool because that was like literally ripped straight out of the comics. Like you can't get
Yeah,
more comic book accurate than that, than Kate being in that t-shirt. So that was really cool. But then, yeah, it was interesting when Hawkeye sent Kate off to go and meet the LARPers, and she had to like
yeah,
go and retrieve the trick arrows. And I thought that policewoman character was quite funny, especially when she did retrieve the arrows and complete the mission. And she
yeah,
was like, "Haven't you got your own arrow bag?" And it was kind of
yeah.
just like, "This is Hawkeye. Give him your bag."
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is my bag. My wife gave it to me. It's called Bombshot, which is quite cool as well. I think she's from the comics. And like, there's a lot of nods and bobs coming through. And Hawkeye is not by himself. There's the support around him. There's people around him. People respect him.
Yeah,
And, even when he go to restaurants and stuff like that, people see and thank him for it. So I think everyone like to be around. I think he's only human. Like, you won't really have a friendship or a normal conversation with a Hulk walking by. Like you won't friends with him because you're seeing
well,
what he's capable of, stuff like that. So it's
you
quite
might
nice
you
to see.
might with Smart Hulk, maybe with Smart
Yeah,
Hulk.
maybe, yeah, but still, it's a huge
Yeah,
dude, like green dude. Like you cannot be friendly as a human, which is Hawkeye is, and he's not. He's very like welcoming and accepting and trying to be nice. It's like you can see that in episode 2 as well when he's went to get the Ronin suit. He used,
Yeah.
just be, nice about trying to offer this guy showing that he's beating Hawkeye in this game, and then so it's quite nice to see that as well. It might play bad for this group of people because they were recording and him at the scene, so people that after Hawkeye might go after them as well. Maybe in the next 2 episodes, Kingpin might go after them
Yeah.
or something like that. So it'll be interesting as well.
No, totally true. And like we were saying before, I really enjoyed this scene where Clint basically tells Kate that the stolen watch is attached to someone's secret identity,
Yeah,
and it's got to be his wife, right? It's got to be because she was the one asking about it.
yeah. See,
So
this is the thing. When she mentioned about the watch, and then he say, "Oh, wasn't that in there 5 years or 10 years ago?"
yeah,
So I kind of got confused because the bleep happened, and that was 5 years ago, the Avenger Tower, and then they went back and brought them all back to it. So, and before that, 5 years before that, I'm talking about is it pre-Avengers one, isn't it?
wait a minute.
So it was Avengers compound and recovered from the Avengers compound, but the watch thereafter, it's 10 years before the bleep, or 10 years before where the timeline is
Yeah,
now.
hang
But
on,
it's
hang
way
on.
off.
Question,
Yeah.
and I might be way off here, but didn't Nick Fury at the end of Winter Soldier take his watch off and put it in a thing and burn everything down?
Yes.
And maybe that watch had like the contacts for everyone in it. And the
Could
mafia
be.
or Kingpin or whatever wants that watch because they can find out like where Ronan is and where everybody is, kind of thing.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I remember he's burning the whole thing out and it has that information. Could be maybe someone recovered it and put it in Avengers compound. And that was, I believe, around 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Would you say Winter Soldiers
Yeah.
came out in the timeline 10 years before the bleep, or where they are now,
Yeah. No,
and
100%.
5 years before the bleep? So yeah, it could be, bro. Like it could be that's his watch. So
Yeah. But anyway, back to the episode.
yeah,
I love this whole bit now where like Kate just doesn't listen to Hawkeye and she just walks straight in
yeah,
and she gets the watch and you see all these light things go off. And I was a bit confused by that at first because I wasn't putting two and two together.
yeah,
And then you realize that it's like a oh shit moment. She's gonna have to fight Maya,
yeah,
and Maya's probably gonna kick her ass. And Hawkeye just promised her mum that like nothing bad was gonna happen to her. And you can see
yeah,
that Kate is actually worried too.
yeah,
And then they start fighting, and then Hawkeye starts fighting, and you're like, what the hell's going on?
yeah,
And then it gets revealed that Hawkeye's fighting someone too. And you know it's Yelena because she's got like a 3 green dot mask on,
yeah,
which is what she has in the comics. But it's all just really fun with them all like fighting, and Kate like holds her own against Maya, and then she uses that zip wire, gets stuck, and then
yeah,
finally makes it across. And I really enjoy like the choreography for this fight. It kind of felt a little bit like Daredevil,
yeah,
but then you get this massive moment, don't you, where she like fires this thing, it disorientates everyone. There's like this last little scuffle, and then
yeah,
Hawkeye pulls her mask off. It's revealed to be Yelena,
yeah,
and Kate's got the arrow pointing at her, and she doesn't fire. And it's
yeah.
interesting because a little bit
He
prior
takes.
in that episode, he
Yeah,
talks about the shot that he didn't take being like the best one, being her, where he could have and he didn't because he saw that she wanted out. And I
yeah,
think Kate saw a similar situation.
yeah,
And they're definitely going to be best friends in future Avenger films. I'm saying it
yeah.
now.
Because she took a shot at Maya anyway, like not
Yeah,
one,
she just
just
full on
two.
fired at Maya.
She could have just done the same for Elena, knowing that she's completely a new person
Yeah,
and trying to do something, and then he sees it. And also, like in the earlier in the episode, during that conversation, she kind of figures it out that Hawkeye is Ronin
Yeah.
or was Ronin as well, which is quite cool because she was kind of okay with it,
Yeah.
and he kind of say everyone deals with their loss differently,
Yeah.
and she's kind of okay with it, or she's maybe coming to have a now going to be
Yeah.
confused by what Elena's going to say about him and maybe something like that. But she's kind of okay with it. But also, I think in that movement when he took Elena's mask off, I don't think Hulk actually seen her because he's got electric shock to him, so he's kind of turned
Well,
around.
I don't think he knows that it's Black Widow's sister. I think he
Yeah,
just thinks that
he's a Black Widow, like
yeah, just a Black Widow out to get him, like he kind of says in the episode. Because
yeah,
he just, but just before we get to that part, when Yelena and Kate like get into that little fight, and she throws Kate off the roof, but kind of like
yeah,
attaches that thing. That bit was insane because Hawkeye's like,
yeah,
no. You kind of see the fear, like
yeah.
fill him
Someone
up.
falling, but
And
yeah,
did you notice it started playing the music that was on Avengers Endgame Vormir
yeah.
when she's lying there, which is like parallels to when Black Widow like sacrificed herself.
And then he
But
kind of switches mind up. He said, like, go home.
yeah,
And it cuts the wire off. And then she falls through the lights.
yeah,
But she, Kate's being Kate. She just get out and walk back up the
yeah,
stairs again.
which I liked.
Yeah.
I liked that. I liked that she was like, and she wanted to like prove herself still, and she kind of
Yeah.
like stormed back up. But I noticed as well that Yelena had a braid, like a ponytail braid thing, kind of
Yeah.
like what Natasha had, and she was wearing the vest with all of the pockets, which
Yeah.
was something
And
she
she
kept
started doing
mentioning.
more superhero poses as
Yeah,
well when she's
superhero poses.
lancing. She'd always take a mick out of her sister, but now she started doing them.
And I like this red Black Widow
Yeah.
electricity. Like, let's move away from the blue Stark Reactor stuff. I like the Black
Yeah.
Widow red. I hope that Yelena gets the actual, like, like navy looking Black Widow suit.
Yeah.
That's the one I wanted to have with the red electric. That'd be sweet.
And then do you also realize, like, this is all could be funded through Power Broker?
I think it
she's
is.
in there.
Yeah, I think it is.
And then, what is a Power Broker playing in this kind of, with Hawkeye, what she's trying to achieve?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think they're all kind of together. And I know she had done, the country defeated her, and then she didn't have a good time, and she became this person. But I want to know what the Power Broker is actually doing, and it would be interesting to see as well when that plays out.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I really enjoyed this episode. I thought I understood at the end why Hawkeye was being like a bit of a dick and like basically telling Kate that was it and that they weren't partners and stuff, because he was basically just ripping off the Band-Aid because he thinks it's just got really serious. Like he thinks that there's a Black Widow warrant on his, and it kind of is like really, really serious. But I think once both of them talk to each other and they realize what's happened, it'll be fine. But
I mean,
who knows?
Yeah, but the only thing is, like, I can understand his point because Kate follows the building and he almost have that kind of movement, and then he realizes like what he could lose again.
Yeah.
And it's another partner or another person.
Yeah.
So that is kind of goes back to the episode title, partner, am I right? I think, that's it. Kate is his new partner, and also he doesn't want to lose her, and then he just wanted to make sure he save himself from another person that does under his watch. So he trying his best to get keeping her safe, and especially now is Black Widow is involved, and Maya is getting more angry and angrier, and and there's a watch. So I'm not really sure what's happened with the watch because we don't get to see at the end. So they recover the watch. Maybe that could play another part in the next episode as well. So that's few things that could kind of lead the episode into a storyline. So not sure how they're gonna go. From the trailers, I could see the Hawkeye and Yelena meets, but in this time she's not in a uniform.
Yeah.
She's in a normal clothes. So we will see what happened.
Maybe actually thinking about it, because he sent Kate away, didn't he? Maybe Kate will get home and she'll find the watch on her, and she'll realize that Hawkeye needs it, and that will be like her into going back to seeing like Hawkeye to give him like the
Yeah.
watch and then tagging along.
Or she finds something on the watch, or she do something with the watch that kind of created the whole thing, or
Yeah.
mess it up, or someone comes after
Yeah.
the watch because it's trackable some reason,
Yeah.
and so people might come after it.
Oh, that's
'Cause,
what she'll do, you know. She'll carry on with the mission without Hawkeye,
Yeah.
right? But she'll take the watch with her because she'll be smart enough to know that Hawkeye will be tracking
Would
it and
come.
he'll show up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen, but I can't wait for the episode because that's 2 episodes, and then the next episode coming out at the same time as the Spider-Man.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, we better get Kingpin. You can't tease him and then not have anything this episode. So he better be showing up next episode.
I think he would, but if it's a Kingpin showing up, I think they need to start putting all the Netflix characters into it slowly.
Well, you know, just start with Daredevil, then maybe put Iron Fist in a Shang-Chi TV series or Shang-Chi Part 2, and you could actually explore the story where he goes to the dragon, because we've got dragons now.
Yeah.
Do it all.
Right?
Yeah. And then I think do Luke Cage after a while. I think maybe bring Luke Cage in when you do a Daredevil series. And, and the same for Punisher.
You know what? Luke Cage also could go with She-Hulk as well.
Yes, he could. That would be sick, actually.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I think you might kind of fall into that. Even just introduce him slowly.
You could do like a similar thing that they did in Jessica Jones, where he gets introduced as like a guy that She-Hulk takes home, and she's like, because they've said it's going to be a bit more raunchy and it's going to break the fourth wall, isn't it? Because she's going to refer to the viewer and stuff. It's going to be a bit like Deadpool. So it'd be cool if she took like a barman home and his name was Luke Cage and he didn't get destroyed by her, kind of thing. And then like you just kind of realize going on that that's going to be Luke Cage in the future.
Yeah,
like,
that'll be
like
that'll be really.
Yeah,
it's like a Jessica Jones go to him.
Yeah,
to feel pain, but just nothing happens. Basically, it would be interesting to see how that storyline plays out.
I agree.
Yeah, I think they should kind of bring back those characters because they confirmed Charlie Cox as a Daredevil,
who will be showing up in Spider-Man next week.
I will be off the roof if that happened, because it will be a really good character to put into Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and he doesn't have to play a huge role. A couple of minutes, just come and say hi and leave.
I don't think we'll see Daredevil. I think we'll see Matthew Murdock's lawyer character.
Because the only reason is that in Netflix they acknowledge the Avengers and acknowledge New York and all that. So it is time to kind of bring them back into it.
Go full circle since they're doing it with everything else. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I believe in Daredevil 1, is it Phil Coulson shows up, or there was a poster or something I've seen him in it.
I think so. I don't know.
But I like to see more of that happening.
Yeah, I agree. I can't wait. I can't wait for Spider-Man. It's going to be awesome. It's literally so soon. It's less than a week away. But so everybody, we will definitely be doing 2 episodes next week. We'll probably do a Spider-Man No Way Home episode reaction/review, and we will be doing a Hawkeye episode 5 reaction/review. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit the like button if you're watching it on YouTube, and if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Google Podcasts, make sure to hit that follow or subscribe button, because it will then allow future episodes to show up in your library without you having to do anything. And it helps us with getting discovered on the algorithm from new listeners. If you want to follow me on social media, it is at Jacob E. Carson. And if you want to follow Raga on social media, it is at
AJ Benthrow 93.
Cool. We're going to be announcing something very interesting in the coming months on a future kind of way that we're going to be doing this show and running this show. And I think it's going to be positive for everyone involved, us and the viewers. And it's going to be very, very exciting. But we will catch you next week for the next episode of Hawkeye and for Spider-Man No Way Home. I can't wait to see the 3 Spider-Man. It's going to be absolutely incredible.